5-year prison sentence, someone knocked on my door. I opened it to 2 detectives who were already inviting themselves into my home. "We have a job for you that can make your prison sentence go away." We sat at the table and he folded his hands. "We're trying to arrest a mafia group, but we don't have any evidence of crime." The other detective smiled. "That's where you come in. Wear a wire tonight and get the job on tape." He slid me a photo of a man that looked identical to me. "This is the guy they hired for tonight. None of them have ever met him. They only know the stories, so that's who you'll be impersonating." I nodded because I knew there was no way I could go to prison, and they taped the wire to my chest. "Great. Head over to the corner right now. They're waiting for you, James." I walked out, and a black van rolled up, and the door slid open. "KLK Manuel." I walked in, and El Gordo in the driver's seat turned around, and his gold teeth were flashing. "Tonight, we kidnapped the accountant who stole from me. You in?" I rolled my shoulders back, forcing myself to seem confident. "Yes." Flaco leaned in. "Why you sweating, hermano? You've done this 100 times. Every eye turned on me. "I just slept with another woman last week, and I don't want my wife to find out." For a second, there was silence, but then they all clapped me on the back. "Classic Manuel," I smiled. "So what's the plan tonight?" They explained everything to me while we drove, and I made sure to throw my head back so that the wire could catch every word. The van stopped and masks came over the seats, so I pulled mine on too, thinking the police would be there when we arrived. But the second we stepped off the van, footsteps came up behind us, and a man stepped into the streetlight wearing my face. It was the real Manuel. He pointed right at me. "Who is this?" Every gun came out, and El Gordo went quiet. "The real Manuel has the flags inked on his forearm." Manuel ripped his sleeve up to expose his crossed tattoos. Every gun swung to me, and the circle closed. El Gordo grabbed my collar. "Let me show you what we do to rats." Suddenly, the street exploded with light. Cops swarmed from every shadow and put everyone face down. The detective handed me the document that read, "This citizen is relieved from their status as a prisoner." "Nice work, Manuel." I shook my head. "It's James." I never expected to see a video of my big sister doing something so shocking. Even more so, I never expected to see it on the big screen at a movie theater. I sprung into action immediately because on some level, I knew this was all my fault. The popcorn I was eating exploded out of my lap as I bolted out of my seat and into the theater aisle. Behind me, playing on the nearly 50-foot screen, was a video of one of my sister's most private moments. She was in her room dancing in her pajamas and singing both loudly and badly into a hairbrush. I could feel the entire audience cringe before small pockets of laughter started erupting in the crowd. On my way out, I passed my sister, who was so frozen by shock that she couldn't even begin to cry yet. I exited the theater and kicked open the door just behind it. It was the door to the projection room. Inside stood my sister's ex-boyfriend, an employee at the theater who was also a notorious narcissist with a vengeful streak to him. He stood at the projector just laughing. "Turn it off now!" I yelled at him. He gave me a sick stare and simply said, "You want me to turn it off? That's a strange request considering you're the one who sent me the video." I just stared at the ground because I knew that what he said was true. A few days ago, my sister and I got into a huge argument over who could use the car this weekend. Things got heated, so she stormed off to her room to blow off some steam in her usual way, by blasting theme songs from our childhood and singing them as loudly as possible. My sister was many things, but a good singer was not one of them. In a moment of anger, I acted recklessly and secretly recorded her performance. Then I sent it to her ex-boyfriend with a message reading, "This is the girl who broke your heart, bro. How sad for you." Now my foolish actions had caught up with me. I stared into her ex-boyfriend's eyes and said, "Just because I sent you a video doesn't give you any right to do this with it. Take it down, now." Without blinking, he just whispered back, "No chance." I replied, "If that's how it's gotta be." I lunged forward and kicked him in the chest. The wind was instantly knocked from his body, and he lay on the floor trying desperately to recover. I immediately cut the feed from the projector and made an announcement over the theater speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, the footage you just watched was an AI generation and completely fake. The scheduled feature film will resume shortly." I leaned over the ex-boyfriend while he lay on the ground, still struggling to breathe, and said, "Exhibiting private videos to the public without the subject's permission is a pretty serious crime, man. I hope the judge takes it easy on ya." I called the police and gave them a rundown before exiting the projection room. My sister stood outside of the doorway with tears in her eyes. She just looked at me and said, "I don't know what happened here, but it looks like you handled it. Thanks." She leaned in and gave me a hug. After I explained everything, she was upset, but our relationship became all the stronger for it. I never A moth landed on my crush's lunch tray, and she shrieked and jumped back into me, and I caught her elbow for 1 perfect second until Trevor swooped in between us and gently held her hands. "Relax, I got you." He flicked the moth away, and she smiled at him. "Wow, you're my hero." I crossed my arms and let him have this one. But soon, I was going to get rid of every moth in this school, so she'd never scream again, and she was going to see exactly who the real hero was. After the last bell rang, I ran to the science lab with my backpack wide open, and I shoved in 2 car headlights, the UV bulb from the reptile tank, and a battery pack. I peeked my head out of the doorway to make sure no one was there, and I ran to a corner of the courtyard where there weren't any security cameras, and I smiled because I knew this was all going to be worth it to see Chloe smile. I dragged a lunch table into the corner, clipped the battery pack to the headlights with alligator clips from the physics drawer, and taped both lights down, angled at the sky. By the time I finished, it was already dark outside, and the school was locked up, so I flipped the switch, and the light was so bright that the courtyard went white. The first moth arrived in under a minute, bumping the headlight in dumb circles, and I scooped it into my jar, grinning. Then came 5 more, then 20, until the air around the light was a storm of wings. They landed in my hair and crawled up my sleeves while I filled the jar, and the whole time I was grinning ear to ear because I knew Chloe was sure to call me her hero soon. I walked in the next morning with the jar filled with moths over my shoulder like Santa, but Chloe was at her locker stroking a moth on her open palm, Trevor leaning beside her. Trevor took me to the butterfly house last night, and it really helped me with my fear of moths. "Did you know moths are just night butterflies? This one's name is Pete. He's kinda cute, right?" Trevor nodded at the jar. "What's in the container, man?" I'd spent 9 hours catching everything she was scared of, and he'd spent 1 date making her love it. I carried it out to the courtyard and opened it. As 300 moths poured into the sky, I realized I was never a hero. I was just down bad. A moth landed. I placed the last box of brown hair dye into my shopping cart and continued walking, but when I turned around, I saw a woman in her mid-40s reaching into my cart and trying to take the hair dye. I moved her hand and told her, "This box is for my daughter with cancer. She wants to dye her hair her favorite color one last time before chemo." But the woman scoffed, "I have a party next month and all my friends have brown hair, so I need it more," and kept trying to take it. I called over the manager, and after the woman proudly declared her party was more important than my daughter's cancer, he kicked her out and told her she was banned. I came home with the dye and dyed my daughter's hair, but then a month later, I got a letter in the mail. The woman was suing me over the hair dye. I showed up to court with my daughter, and the woman was already sitting there, frowning like she was the victim. She stood up and told the judge I had done irreparable emotional damage to her, and pulled out photos of her from the party, showing her with blonde hair while all her friends had brown hair. She cried, "My friends laughed at me all night, Your Honor. They don't understand how hard it's been for me." The judge looked over at my daughter with her already thinning brown hair and immediately ruled in our favor. Then he looked at the woman and also ordered her to cut her hair short, because right now it's getting in her eyes and stopping her from seeing the actually important things in life. Her jaw dropped and the clippers came out. I placed the last box. A man walked in with his son while I was working the counter at the movie theater, and the kid instantly started pointing at everything behind the glass. "Daddy, it's my birthday. I want the big popcorn, the chicken nuggets combo, and 2 drinks so we don't have to share." The dad smiled and ordered everything, but when I said $37, his smile instantly faded. He opened his wallet and I saw him count. He only had 20. He quietly muttered, "I'm a failure," under his breath, then started putting things back. The large popcorn became a small, the 2 drinks became 1. The kid's combo was gone completely. His son watched each item get taken off, and his little face fell, but he didn't say a word because he clearly understood. The dad paid the 20, and I watched them walk in with their 1 small popcorn and 1 drink. I looked down at the kid's combo on my counter, then pulled $17 out of my wallet and put it in the register. I grabbed the kid's combo, the large popcorn, and the 2nd drink, and walked into the theater. I found them right as the movie was starting, and the dad was pouring popcorn into his son's hands, so the kid would get more. I set everything on their armrest. "This one's on the house, for the birthday boy." The dad looked up at me, and his eyes filled with tears. He didn't say a word, but I knew that's because if he spoke, he'd start crying immediately. His son screamed, "Daddy, look, chicken nuggets!" I smiled and walked back, but when I walked out, my manager stopped me. "Why did you do that?" I replied, "Because it was only $17 and made the kid's birthday special." He counted the money in the register. "Fine, but that's $17 that could have gone in your wallet. He probably pretended to be broke just so you'd do that." I just shrugged, but after the movie, the dad quickly slid me a folded napkin while walking out. I opened it, and it said, "I lost my job last month. My son's mom left. This is the first time I've taken him anywhere since. Thank you for making it feel like things might be okay. Michael." I put the napkin in my wallet where the $17 was and smiled, because sometimes even a little help can go further than you could ever imagine. I was at a boxing tournament and landed one final punch, waiting to win the title belt I'd wanted my whole life. The ref shouted, "We have a new champion," and raised my glove, but before I could grab the belt, Jason, the champ who'd won 5 years straight, lunged at it. "That should be mine." I pushed it away from him, and he smiled. A real champ doesn't get handed the belt, he takes it. I didn't know what he meant until he dropped to the canvas, clutched his lower back and screamed, "He injured me! I can't feel my legs!" The whole arena gasped as the ref rushed over. Jason let out a big sob. "Winning is how I feed my family, and now I'll never fight again." I wasn't sure if he was lying, but then he slapped at his own legs, screaming he couldn't feel a thing. So the ref waved frantically, "Get a medic out here now!" The crowd booed me for paralyzing a legend. Jason reached out a shaking hand. "Please, just let me have this win. That belt is the only way I can provide for my kids." The ref knelt beside him, then looked up at me. "A real champion would give it to him. Are you really going to take everything from a man who can't walk?" Everyone turned to me, waiting, and I knew if I said no, I'd be the cruelest sore loser alive. So with my heart pounding, I placed the belt in Jason's hands. The second it touched his palms, his tears stopped, and a grin spread across his face as he raised it high to a roaring crowd. But giving him that belt was the best thing I could have done, because right then, the medic sprinted into the ring. Jason's grin vanished. "Wait, I'm okay now. I don't need a doctor. Just let me celebrate." But the medic knelt and pulled out a reflex hammer. "If you can't feel your legs, we have to check. Hold still." The arena went silent as he tapped Jason's knee, and his leg kicked straight into the air. The medic looked up. "He's not paralyzed. His leg's fine." The crowd started booing, but Jason grabbed the belt and scrambled up to run, but his foot caught the rope and he slammed onto his back with a loud crack. He screamed that he couldn't move, but this time nobody believed him. The belt rolled to my feet, so I picked it up and stood over him. A real champ doesn't get handed the belt. He takes it. So get up and take it from me. He couldn't. I was at a boxing tournament and landed. My big brother Eli and I played Jinx every day, and he'd managed to convince me that getting jinxed meant I actually lost the ability to use my voice. I'd put my hands together for him to unjinx me so I could speak again, but he'd just laugh and walk away, leaving me in silence for hours. But then one day Eli jinxed me and ran upstairs, and that's when I heard something behind me. An intruder was climbing in through our window. He dropped onto our carpet, and my whole body froze with fear. I wanted to yell for Dad, but my lips stayed shut because I knew the jinx wouldn't let me speak. The man put Dad's watch in his bag, then saw me sitting frozen. He raised a finger to his lips, then grinned. "Oh, you're mute. That makes this even easier." He turned and took Dad's ID from his wallet for ransom. My lips trembled as I tried to work up the courage to scream despite the jinx, but my vocal cords locked up when I opened my mouth. That's when Eli's voice came down the stairs. "You still frozen down there, lil bro?" He was laughing, knowing I couldn't say yes. I was terrified, but the man's eyes instantly went to the stairs. He smiled. "So that kid there can speak? Let me go say hi to him." He started heading up towards Eli and my dad. I knew I had to try, so I took a deep breath and opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I tried again, but the man just gripped the railing and kept walking, so I clenched my fists as my face turned red. "Dad, there's a robber in the house!" Instantly, feet slammed above me, and Dad ran to the staircase holding his pistol. The man instantly dropped his bag and ran down, flying past me and out the window. Dad ran down with Eli behind him, while I sat there trembling. I instantly grabbed Eli's arm, my voice shaking. I beat it, "Eli." The man was in our house for a few minutes, but I was jinxed and couldn't scream for help. But then I tried really hard and it worked. I broke the jinx. Eli's mouth instantly opened. He stared at me with these wide, shocked eyes, then pulled me into his chest. "Yes, little brother, you beat it. I'm so proud of you." He let me have my moment.